you can consider this Korean's speech 2.0 with a little bit of woo-woo. How many of us, as he asked, actually do have goals or resolutions this year? Yes. I'm not going to beat down the resolution idea because every time I ask this question, I always tell people the fact that I don't believe in resolutions. I actually believe in goals. But the fact is, whatever it is that you've decided to do, resolutions, goals, there is one common goal, one common mindset that we have. How many of us remember the hashtag winning? How many of us remember that? Who was famous for that?
Charlie.
Charlie Sheen, even though he's not that much winning right now. But just focus on the part of the hashtag winning and forget the other part where he's kind of doing bad and down. Because what that is what each and every one of us has in our mind when we think about our year or even our life in general. There are different aspects of our life that we would want to have a positive effect, a winning mindset, in the sense that we are pursuing a profitable goal. The financial aspect, which I think is the most important for most people, the spiritual aspect, your health, and your personal goals, and also your relationships, actually. So tonight, I'll be talking about seeing it, believing it, and acting on it. If I think back and go into how I got to start talking about personal development, I remember when I first got into real estate, and I use this because I call real estate the dream job I never dreamt about. And the reason why I call it this is because I was actually not thinking of it as a business that I would do full-time. But when I went to a meeting, actually this was when I was still kind of part-time, 3-4 months into the business, I went to a sales meeting that ignited a fire within me. That day, it was just a meeting that I said, you know what, it's free, why not, if not, right? And this guy talked about something important. He said, you can do good, you can be better than you are, he basically was inspiring us. One thing he did tell us about was a book. The book is called U Squared. It talks about quantum leaps. And interestingly, I made the move to buy that book, which is hardly what I do. I actually went ahead to the internet, ordered that book. Luckily, it was very small. It's literally an hour read. You can read it in 2 hours or less. And for me, it was a good start in terms of the personal development. And after reading that book, I got so inspired. I told myself, I am going to do my best to become the best or the best salesperson I can be. Now, the first year, I really didn't hit the goal I was setting for. I went to the office award, and I saw people receiving awards. And I got inspired. I said, I would like to also receive an award one day. You see, I made a goal not even thinking of that aspect of receiving awards. But when I went to that award ceremony, I told myself I would like to receive awards. And from that, the next year onwards, I've always received an award. So in essence, those 3 things came into effect. Seeing it, believing it, and acting on it. First of all, seeing it. In anything that we're trying to do, as Kurian has said, we need to see it. We need to see an end goal. This reminds me of a story of a lady who was on a ship. She was on a cruise, and she was staring at this guy, staring at him so much that the guy had to come over and ask her for dinner. You know, he was like, maybe she's interested, who knows? So they went out for dinner, and while they were talking, he asked her one question. He's like, why were you staring at me so much? And the lady told him that he looked like her third husband. And he was shocked. He's like, oh, so how many times have you been married? Well, I've been married twice. Now, this was a lady who saw it. If you take the message from this story I just told you, you understand that in everything that we do, we need to at first see it before we can even get to what we are trying to get to. Everything you see on this planet, everything that is man-made, was once a thought in someone's mind. This place that we're staying in right now was once on the blueprint, on the paper, and it now was built for us to come in and have this meeting we're having at the moment. Someone saw it, someone believed it could happen, and someone acted on it. So it's important that you have to, at first, see it in your mind. You have to visualize it. You have to believe then that it's possible. That's the second part that is very important. Without believing it, there is no way that whatever you have in your mind can come into reality. So it's important that even after seeing it, it's important that you believe in your mind that you can actually achieve what you have in mind. Now, the fact is this. Looking at the examples from the past, there is nothing, almost nothing, that you can imagine that is impossible. Now, when people say this, you kind of start telling yourself, I don't believe it. Well, that's the mindset that you have to take out of you. Because when someone tells you there's nothing you can do, you should actually take it and say, yes, there is nothing I can do. Because from that moment, you are actually believing in yourself. Because if you don't take a step into believing, you cannot really achieve that goal. So, in essence, what I'm trying to say is, no matter what doubt comes into your mind, you have to find a way to tell yourself, give yourself reasons why it's possible. And we all have it in us to say, these are the reasons why I can do it. Number one, you are alive. The fact that you're breathing in air, you're a human being. You can do a lot of things that dead people can't do. Number two, someone else must have done it before. I always have this thing that our parents always tell us in those days when we come back home with the results and maybe, we're like, maybe you came second and it's not enough. And they ask you, the guy who came first, does he have two heads? And the answer is no, he doesn't. So the fact is, if you can see that someone else has done it, then yes, you can do it as well. So it's important to see that it is hardly impossible that you can't achieve whatever you have put in mind. Because for you to have thought it in the first place, then it's possible that it can happen for you. And last is to act on it. Now, we can dream and dream as much as we want. We can believe in ourselves. We can think we are Hulk Hogan, we're Goliath, whatever it is we want to think. But if we do not take the first step to act on that belief, then there is nothing really that can happen. As I said, this place that we're staying in today was on the blueprint at one point. And someone went ahead and presented it to a group of people and said, I have an idea of a recreational center, and this is what I think is going to go into this recreational center. This has to happen to get it to completion. I think we can do this. They had to come over and do certain things to this place to make it possible for this place to be present here today. That step was the first step of acting on that belief. And I think it's important that whatever it is that you have first thought in mind, you take the first step necessary. If it's even talking to somebody who has done it before you. In my career, what I did was the first year, I went to talk to all the people that I saw that were doing good. And I'm lucky I did that. I did that not knowing what I was doing. Because there are many negative people around. And when you talk to the positive people, you become ignorant to the negative things that happen around you. So in essence, talk to the people that have done it before, or talk to the people that you think are people that can help you get to where you want to go to. And I think when you start the process, even by talking to those people, you would find the next step necessary to do what you're looking to achieve. It's important that I state that it's not just all these steps that are important, but one important step of taking responsibility for our actions. Not blaming ourselves is important, because one thing that people tend to do is when they've tried everything and maybe it doesn't work out, as I said, the first year I didn't achieve something that I set out, but guess what? It's been 6 years now in the business, and I've achieved that year. And when I go back and I look at that goal, I laugh. I say, wow, I can't imagine that I was actually scared that I couldn't hit that goal. But that goal now is like a 6 months goal for me, you see? Everything has a step to it. And once you take the first step, you grow in whatever aspect you're trying to grow in. Is it your personal life? Is it the health life? I'm still working on that part. Is it your financial life? Your relationships? I think every aspect of your life can grow on this aspect of thinking, seeing it, believing it, that it's possible, and acting on it. And not blaming yourself when it doesn't happen. Just take responsibility, see what has been done, and correct, and start all over again if possible. As long as you have breath in you, you can actually achieve what it is you want to achieve. So my encouragement is that, and also to myself as well, because when I talk to me. So my encouragement to you is that this year, 2016, whatever it is that you have in mind to achieve, believe that it's possible and act on it, and you will surprise yourself. Thank you very much.